we have got the incredibly handsome Steve Sims with us, and he's got a video that he's gonna show that introduces him. The video is not complete; it's partially complete. It was made before he met me, and if we had met before, I'd obviously be one of the people in the video, but I'm not. So he needs to redo it. But Steve and Mike, but Steve, I love this guy. He's helped me a lot over the last couple of months as I chart this new territory, and I really appreciate that. So with that, Steve, we're going to watch your video and then turn it over to you.
In a world where a bricklayer from London taught himself every skill he needed to put the Vatican on his speed dial, send clients to visit the Titanic, and others to A-list Oscar parties, well, if this guy can do it, you have no excuse. This strange man has captured the attention of media giants, TV, and has been a speaker at a variety of networks, groups, and associations, as well as speaking at the Pentagon and Harvard twice. As the old adage goes, it's all about who you know. And now you know Steve. Entrepreneurialism is a curiosity that can't be satisfied. That's why you're here. But Sims has the roadmap to help you skip all the stop signs. And as proof, I'm not Morgan Freeman. That would be a waste of a smart entrepreneur's budget. And Steve is a tight-ass. Steve Sims.
Well, thank you very much. I think I appreciate the intro. Thank you very much, Tav. I do appreciate you doing what you're doing. All right, so I was asked to spend like 50 minutes with you and talk, to speak, to present. But we're in a different kind of world, aren't we? And things are different. So I thought to myself, I have a couple of options. I could stand here and rattle on lyrically about how brilliant I am and some of the people that I've dealt with. But how does that help you? It absolutely doesn't. So I thought what I would do would be taking some of the things that I've done over 25 plus years as the go-to guy and the fixer and whatever you want to call it, but working with billionaires to some of the biggest events in the world, and what I basically combined from all of that and how you can take it, implement it into your business, and quite simply benefit from it. I thought I would take that route, okay? No one wants to hear me chatting away if it doesn't help you. So I'm going to start with a question straight off the bat. I've made some little notes here, so you're going to see me looking down because I want to stay on track with this. Why do people do business with you? Have you ever actually just asked yourself that question? Why do people do business with me? You know, it may be at the right time. They always say a broken clock is correct twice a day. So do you just happen to get clients because they're desperate? You know, they fell into you, whatever. But why do people do business with you? And also, why should they? It's going to come down to three things that people look at in order to make a decision. And that decision being, yes, I want to spend money with this person. I want to actually commit to this person. Reputation, credibility, and branding. That's it. You get those three things right, you got business all day long, every single day. All right. So that's the major focus. So I want to first of all start on what branding is. Understand for a start, the branding's a unicorn. It moves around. You can never find it. And as I always say, branding is basically a blue unicorn with three testicles. It doesn't exist. You can't put your hands on it. Branding is what people say about you, no matter how much attention you pay to the website, how much attention you've taken to making yourself look glorious. Branding is what people say about you when you're not in the room. That's what branding is. If you've got a shoe shop and it sells everything from high heels to sneakers, and all people say is you sell brilliant sneakers for kids, and 3 million people say you sell sneakers for kids at great prices, then guess what your brand is? All right? So focus on that. What your brand is what other people say about you, not what you say. Now, you can actually direct it a bit, but I want to actually focus on you and how you come forward. So let's play a little game. I walk into a bar. It's been known to happen. And I walk up to you and I go, hey, how you doing? My name's Steve Sims. I've worked with Elon Musk, Sir Elton John, and the Pope. I'm a big deal. And I go and shake your hand. How many of you want to hit the delete button now? How many of you want nothing to do with me? In a bar situation, if I did that to you, how many of you would go, oh my God, this guy's full of himself. He's such a prick. Get away from me. The introduction is repelling. Forget the content, forget the facts. It's repelling. So let's play another angle. Again, I walk into a bar, but this time I ignore you. Why shouldn't I? I don't know who the hell you are. And I walk to the end of the bar, order my old fashioned and sit down. And the person you're with, your best mate, your partner, your business partner, elbows you in the ribs and goes, whoa, you see that guy? He's worked with Elon Musk, Sir Elton John, and the Pope. That guy's a big deal. Now what do you think? Now you're thinking, really? Is it? I wonder if I can bump into him and start up a conversation. You have an interest. Exact same terminology, exact same copy was used in both introductions. But why was one more powerful and the other one was actually repelling? The source. That's what it was. It was the source of where you got that information from. Now, that's a very stretched example of an introduction, and both sides are defensive of it. But you've got to ask yourself, today, in the world we are in, we are introducing ourselves to people, potential clients, partners, affiliates, relationships, so many different people. We're introducing ourselves before we get face to face. You see, you may be introduced on social, you may be introduced by a friend, you may be introduced by someone seeing this. There are people out there that I'm positive have no clue who I am. And trust me, that's fine. My ego can't be hurt by that. But this is this is the first time you've ever come across me. Excuse me, I'm just getting over a bad cough and cold. No, it's not COVID, so don't worry. But what I want to focus on is now working on you. We've got to make sure that your digital ecosystem introduces you appropriately. In fact, more to the point, you forget and remove any ability for anyone that finds you to be confused. And the way you should do this for a start is what we call a social brand audit, a social fingerprint. This is a very easy thing to do. It's a bit time consuming, but these are the basics, okay? If anyone wants to find me to go over it more, hey, you can. Do your homework and find me. Social fingerprint on a computer, laptop and desktop, not on a phone, but on a desktop and a laptop where you can open up multiple browsers. I want you to open up all of your social profiles, Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, Tinder, all of your social platforms, and I want you to look at them. Is your photograph current on every single one? How far off is your photograph on every single one? You may have a very professional photograph on LinkedIn. You're looking all daffy. You got your suit and tie on. You head over to Facebook and it's Girls Gone Wild. You got your funny shorts on and a Mai Tai. You've got to make sure that you're Apple. Does Apple have a different picture across all platforms? Has it got continuity that is impossibly misunderstood to be just Apple? What I mean is there no confusion when you're on Apple on LinkedIn and you are on Twitter, you're on the same page, you're on the same company. No. But people, for some reason, think that they can mess around with the pictures. And sometimes you'll be doing more stuff on Facebook and you'll update the photograph and you'll forget. That's fine. But there's no excuse for you to be showing a picture from 20 bloody years ago just because you saved pounds then. More importantly, there is no excuse for you having a different bio on different social platforms. Why? Are you an engineer on LinkedIn and you're a party promoter on Facebook? No. Your occupation is your occupation. Your birthday is your birthday. Your bio should not be different on any social platform. So the first thing to do is open up all those social platforms and make sure that you are impossible to misunderstand. Make sure your bio is the exact same on all the others. Make sure your photograph at least is current on all those social platforms. That's the first thing to start playing with. I'm a great believer that no one will ever do any business with anyone that we're confused with. I openly say that the big C in life is cancer. The big C in business is confusion. You're never, ever, ever going to get a client phone you up and go, hey, Tab, I saw this stuff. It confused me, but I wanted to have a chat with you to see if I could do business with you. It's never going to happen. The second a client is confused, they walk away to find someone who is not confusing. Don't be the needle in that coffin for your client, okay? Get rid of all confusion. The other thing you've got to look at is to make sure that it's really you. People want to be relatable. Now, understand, your website, hey, that's where your glossy pictures go. That's where your trophy chest is. In fact, a website is a trophy chest. You put stuff up there that shows off absolutely how fantastic you are. Your social feed shows how real you are. So don't put a photo shoot up there. If you like whiskey, do a picture of whiskey, shoot that on there. If you're holding an event like this, put a picture of that up on there. Make sure you're showing the real you. People want to get like a little peek into who you are. And again, ask yourself, when was the last time you updated your website? A year ago? 2 years ago? When was the last time you updated your Facebook or LinkedIn page? 10 minutes ago? 2 minutes ago? Your social pages are where people get to see you. And if you are such a moron that you think people are not looking at your social pages before doing any business with you, you're an idiot. Even though people were told a while ago, hey, you can't employ or not employ someone based on their social feeds, trust me. Let me ask you this question. You're having dinner with Roger on Saturday night, and Roger turns around to you and says, hey, I know we're having dinner and we haven't had dinner for a long time, but my pal Susie's in town. Can she come for dinner with us as well? Now you're going to go, well, I like Roger. I'll probably like Susie because they're friends. So yes. Okay. Do you go to Facebook, to Roger's Facebook page, and look up to find out who the bloody hell Susie is so you can get a little bit of background information? Now, I know if we were in a public setting, you'll be like, no, I don't do that. But I know you're all little sly people out there and you're like, yeah, I exactly do that. We stalk people because there's no fingerprint. No one can see that we're looking at somebody else's friends. So we do that. So understand, if we're doing it, everybody else is doing it. Do not confuse people. And again, as I say, that is what your brand stands for. If you like fishing, if you like horse riding, throw it all over your social feed, because guess what? We want to relate to people we can do business with. That's a key focus. All right. So I want you to focus on being as crystal clear as you could possibly be on who you are. The next thing I want to do is focus on, once you've actually cleaned up all your social platforms, it's very easy for people to see who you are. How do you actually project it on your social feeds? The biggest mistake I see, and I was very happy to hear, I only caught the tail end of it, about sales. Hey, I'm a great believer in selling, but I'm a massive advocate in solving. Okay? Think about it. If you wake up one morning, 2 o'clock in the morning, and you've got a bad headache, you go to the kitchen, you open up the cabinet, there's the headache tablets. Do you get the tablets out and go, oh, I don't like the packaging? No. You see, when you're being solved of a problem, all the packaging and all the branding goes away. You care about one thing. It works. Okay? If you're getting tires, do you care about the website? No, you care about the reliability, the reputation, the credibility, and the branding. That's what you focus it on. You know, you don't care about anything else. You care that it absolutely works. I tell people now, today, focus on solving rather than selling. It's just a reframing of the exact same statement. But you've got to understand the world that we're living in. First of all, before you enter into any conversation, understand the climate and temperature that you are in before you engage in that conversation. What do I mean by that? Yeah, I'll explain. We're pissed off. Basically, the entire planet is pissed off. There's never been a time anywhere in the planet where we don't have the exact same thing in common. You could bump into someone from Korea, from Japan, from South Africa, from St. Petersburg, from England, from Chicago, from LA, from Canada, from anywhere in the planet and go, how's COVID treating you? How have you been able to adapt? And you're going to be able to strike up a conversation. You've never been able to do that. When we've had recessions in America, there's been other places in the planet that have not had recessions. When they've had recessions and downtimes, it may not have affected here. So this is the first time there is a unilateral connection between everyone. And what we have also on top of that connection is aggravation. For many, many months, we had no idea when the vaccine was going to come out. We've got vaccines now, okay? But for many months, we've been in lockdown. We are aggravated. We want to get out. We want to see our friends. We want to see our family. We're buggered off. We're pissed off. The last thing we want is some slick Sally coming over and selling us something. Even if we want it, we've already got an aggravation level of 9.9.9, if that decibel works. We're already running at max. You start selling, you're the straw that breaks the camel's back. Okay, people don't want to be manipulated. We already feel in the past year through statements, riots, through politics, through media, we already think we've been manipulated. We're ready for the next, as I say, slick Sally to come along and do the exact same for it. And we're not going to take it. We're not going to stand for it. Understand that is the mindset of people in the world and react accordingly. If everyone's aggravated, then walk up to them and go, boy, are you as pissed off as I am? Have you had enough of this as much as I have? Relate on a common thread. Okay. Now, all I'm talking about is the art of communication, something that we were absolutely incredibly brilliant at in the 80s and the 90s, and we got shit in the 2000s, and we've got worse as we've got along. Why? Because we outsourced our communication to Facebook. Hey, we're having a new baby. I'm not going to phone my mates and tell them all I had a baby. Just going to post a picture of it on Facebook. I'm outsourcing my ability to communicate, which means we're getting really, really bad at it. It's a skill we need to practice. It's a skill we need to focus on. Trust me, Amazon doesn't know how to communicate. Amazon doesn't know how to have a conversation. If you think I'm wrong, phone up Amazon and say, hey, I'm thinking of changing my toilet rolls. Which one shall I get? You'll get crickets. You'll get no one having that conversation with it because those companies are transactional. Uber Eats, Uber, it's all transaction-based. Airbnb, Amazon, the biggest companies in the planet are transaction-based. They are not relationship-based. They do not care if you stay or go. They'll find somebody else, okay? They're there to solve a single problem. In the case of Uber, being able to get somewhere without it being a horrible yellow taxi smelling of vomit. You get a black car. You can feel like a celebrity for 5 minutes. So make sure that when you actually speak to people, you're actually focusing on you being the solution and not selling. Get in line with them. Get in tight with them. Get to relate with them. Ask them questions about how they're handling things today. And remember, when you focus on you being the solution, you don't actually have to focus on any of the pretty stuff. All right, so I hope that's helping. We got some time to go. But now what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go through communication and the different platforms we can use. And then I'm going to go into consumption, okay? Very, very, very important. So let's focus on it. If you really want to increase your ability to communicate, and I suggest you do now, we're all stuck at home. We're all desperate to have a conversation. There's no better time than now to have that conversation. So let's focus on the different platforms out there. What's the first platform that we can use to communicate with each other? Ding, ding, email. That's also the worst. It's the number one and it's the worst. Why? Because you're basing it on algorithms of the company you use to send out the email and filters for the companies that are receiving the email. If you use Constant Contact, MailChimp, or any of those other CRM programs, and you decide to send out to your list, and your list is 10,000, if you are really, really, really good with your email, you're still going to get an industry high of maybe 22% opening up that email. That's it, okay? The rest of the people have no idea you sent that email. In fact, they're sitting there going, well, actually, I registered for this guy and I wanted to receive information, but I'm not getting it. But Google, Yahoo, Hotmail, AOL, all those other filters, and if you're into financial services, any email that comes with a hyperlink automatically gets blocked. So all of these people are thinking, hey, I want to get your emails, but you're not sending anything to me. You are, but you're leaving it up to somebody else to actually send it out, to agree whether or not it should be received. So email, yes, is a great way of sending it out, but don't think to yourself, just because you sent out 2,000 emails, 2,000 people got it. At best, 20% of those people actually got it, okay? And again, once they get it, then you got to focus on who cares enough to open it, which is an even smaller percentage. It gets very, very scary, and I do a whole thing on this in my talks on the actual open rate and the click-through rates and the closing percentage. It's scary. Look me up. I think there's a video on it somewhere. Social. When you post stuff you're up to, solutions, what your products are, what your services are, if you post them socially, huge engagement. Also a direct way then to get involved in a further conversation. See, bear in mind, who cares if you've got 50,000 likes? What you want to have is 5 conversations. So ignore the likes, look at the engagement. If you're not getting the engagement, then pull that down, change the copy, change the opening line, change the headline, post it up again. Once you've got something that works, you can actually use that thing many, many times, but be prepared to test. It's called split testing. The best companies on the planet do it all the time, but social is very, very good. Also, hits immediate. More people spend time on their social feeds than they do going through their emails, okay? So you can actually reach people really quick and fast and get a temperature feel as to whether or not what you've got is powerful, impacting, and solution-based to somebody else. So I suggest send an email out and then also post it on social saying, hey, I hope you got it, but this morning I sent out an email on this subject. What do you think? It's a great way to actually get a double up on that. The next thing is text. And let me ask you a question just to validate my my statement before I even ask it. When was the last time you got a text and it fell in your junk file? You never did. Why? Because there's no such thing as a text junk file, okay? That's the beauty of it. If you send out text, unless they've changed the phone number, 98% of people are getting a sudden instantaneous open. And let me ask you this question. If I send you an email and you like me, what is a respectable, tolerable time frame in order for you to respond to me? A couple of hours? A day? Couple of days? How many times have you wanted to respond to someone that you've liked and gone, oh shit, it's been a few days now, I forgot about that. And you've gone, oh, sorry, it fell in my junk file. Now I know there's nobody out there that probably uses that. You're not liars. But let's be blunt, we've all done it. But how fast do you respond to a text? If someone texts you, the first thing you think is, well, hang on a minute, if they got my cell phone number, we're close. We're friends. We've got a relationship already. So that means that the communication format of a text is far shorter. In an email, you may put a paragraph in there, but on a text, it's like, hey, did you get my email? Question mark. Is very, very short. No, I didn't get your email. Oh, don't worry. Here you go. Here's a link. Look at it here. Texts are very, very fast. I will warn you that texts are superdocious fast. I had a very, very large list once. It was like about nearly 8,000 cell phone numbers through my past travel company. And I thought to myself, I'll see how good this is. And I sent it out. I lost 3 days of my life because I was communicating with all of these people that have gone, that sounds good. Can you send me more information? Yeah, I'll send it to you. What can you tell me about it now? Have you got any pictures? It just took over my life. So quite simply, I never send out more than 200 texts at a time now. Send out 200, wait a couple of hours, send out another 200, wait a couple of hours. That's what I do. It sounds monotonous, but how can it be monotonous when all you're doing is generating conversations? Isn't that what we want? You know, conversations turn into relationships that turn into business. I'll have that all day long. Texts are far better. So you do an email, Post it on social going, hey, did you get that email this morning? Send a text out going, hey, did you see the email this morning? If not, here's a link to it. All the best, Steve. Post that out on a text. Now, there's another couple of things that you can actually do a little bit better than that. I love doing video and audio text. If you think to yourself by now and you're still hung up on your looks, hey, look at me, I'm not. So, you know, you should be absolutely fine. You should do video and audio text. Audio at minimum, but video is better. Why? Let me explain the first thing about an audio text. I have never spelled anything wrong on an audio text. Mic drop moment, okay? I can't spell for crap, but I have never got anything wrong in a video text. I can also do a short, sharp video way faster than I can type it up. Also, when I send you a little video via text, a little picture of me pops up on your phone, and you're like, what is this? There's a picture of me mid-sentence. You click it, and it's like, hey, I was at a seminar, or I watched a webinar, or I was just involved in the refiners, and it was a fantastic event, and I had a couple of things I wanted to talk to you about. Text me back a good time for us to chat. Two things you'll notice. One, I didn't introduce myself. Whoever introduces themselves to a friend going, hey, how you doing, Steve Sims? You don't do that. You go, hey, how you doing? You also never end it with your name. And lastly, you don't introduce yourself to the person. I don't have to do a video text going, hey, Tab, how you doing? It's Steve Sims. You can already see who it is. And it's come to your phone, so you already know who it was meant for. But the cheeky part of it is I can use that video and I can send it out to 2,000 people, and absolutely every single one of them think they got a personalized video text. Now, if you're still hung up on your stunningly ugly looks, do an audio text. Hey, I was watching the refiners and Steve Sims came on. This guy, he's really crazy. He's got some brilliant ideas, and I wanted to chat with you about it. When's a good time for us to get on the phone? Send it out. Why is that important? Because you're focusing on something that can benefit them. All you want is a conversation, but you're giving them something. And then you can say, yeah, he was talking about video texting and about, you know, social profile and actually introducing yourself appropriately. I do an intro game at my speakeasies that everyone always gets wrong. Tab can, you know, feel free to tell you about those things. But the way we introduce ourselves today is more important than it ever has been. So the video text is a great way of getting out to the mass market without spelling anything wrong, without having to worry about grammar and punctuation, but also you're using every single sense possible available to someone, to a human being, outside of smell. And for some of us, that's a good thing. But that's the only sense that's not being used in that video. You're going to get to see my enthusiasm. You're going to get to see my grin. If I sent you a text and I said, hey, beer tomorrow night, 8 o'clock. Let's say, for I'm saying you just came home and found your wife in bed with the gardener. You're going to look at that text and you're going to be grumpy about it. Because any message that is sent is only qualified into the mood the recipient is in. If you're in a happy mood and you see an email that says beer tomorrow night, 8 o'clock, be there. Do not be late in capital letters. You're going to go, yeah, Steve wants to have a beer with me. I'm going to that. But if you're in a really bad mood and people have been bossing you around all day, you're going to look at that and you're going to look at it like I'm ordering you. And you've had enough. And you're going to go, why should I bloody bow to him? No, I'm not going to show up. In fact, I'm not even going to respond. But if I do a video, or at minimum, an audio, you get my tonality. You get my excitement. You get my enthusiasm. You get my passion. None of those things, no matter how good a writer you ever are, can be conveyed in such a simple aspect as a video. So I'm telling you now, get the videos out there. I actually want to go into consumption. It's a weird thing to say, but we're working at home now. We've got laptops at home. We've got desktops at home. We don't need to be checking all of our personal stuff on a phone that we do when we're at work. But you know, the funny thing is, consumption of people using phones has increased a monstrous amount during COVID, because whereas we would just come home, leave it on the counter, we'll take this to our sofa now. More people are taking it to bed. We can't get away from it. Also, think of all the apps, your heating, your security system, all of those apps that now work on your phone. So your phone needs to be by your hand so you can operate your Nest system and any of your heat and your ACs and your alarm systems. Okay? So we're being taught to use our phones more. So as we're using our phones more, you've got to understand, how do you get the emails? How do you get the communication? Now, I've already told you about texting and video and stuff like that. You can only get that on your phone. But emails, ask yourself the question, where do you first check your emails? Now, when we were moving around, I used to call it the Cappuccino Shuffle. People would go in a Starbucks, they'd order their mocha frappa latte or whatever it is, step to the side, and God forbid they could stand alone on for 2 minutes. They would whip out their phone to start checking their emails. Okay? That's what they would do. How many times as you're clicking delete to just clear up your inbox before you get to the office, did you accidentally delete a message that you really, really wanted? But you've forgotten about it by the time you've been ordered by the time you got your coffee, you got in your car and you've headed for work. Now people are at home. Here's one crucial fact. Understand that more people search information via a handheld device than they have ever done in prior years. Ever. So when you're doing an email, when you're building content, whatever you're doing, check what it looks like first on the phone before you push submit or load up. Don't check it on your computer. There was a time when people would look at stuff on their iPhones and then they would go to the computer to complete an order, whether it be travel or buying shirts or anything like that. But ask yourself, how much easier now is it to actually purchase stuff on your phone? iTunes, for argument's sake, I see a movie I like, I'm looking at it, and my face recognition means I've just bought the bloody thing. I'm just thinking about buying it, and bang, I bought it. Do you want to buy it? Click, done, bought. Amazon on your iPhone is so easy to use. Buy again, swipe, done. Credit card and details already in there. Your phones are training you to use them and to never leave them. Something also happened, which is a slightly uncomfortable thing that's come out of 2020, and that is the use of QR codes. I love QR codes. I use QR codes all the time, but I don't like phones at the dinner place. So I got kids. So I would turn up at a restaurant and I'd say, hey, kids, put your phones away. And they would put their phones away. What happens when we go to a restaurant now? We're not given menus. What are we given? A little beer mat, and on the beer mat is a barcode. And that barcode, you have to get your phone out and you have to. So what's the first thing that happens when you have a meal, whether it be outside or inside, depending on where you are? The first thing that happens is for the first 5 to 6 minutes, everyone's got their head down looking at the menu in their phone. We're being brainwashed now that you have to take the phone. I had my son leave the phone in the car the other day, and he's like, oh, can I get a menu and they get fidgety because they're the only ones not looking at the bloody menu while you three are. So understand, QR codes are here to stay. Do you possibly think that once COVID's out of the way, all of those restaurants that have realized, hey, I can change the menu by just logging into the QR code, I can change the dish of the day, I can do all of those things without printing new menus? How many menus do you think Denny's lose per week? Purely and simply because all of us lot spilling stuff on them. So they're saving money, and it's actually adaptable and tweakable far, 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 far faster. How many restaurants do you think, hey, I'm going to stick to the QR codes? Saves money, and I can do way more for it. And I'm going to hide behind the fact that, hey, for sanitization and for germs, it's better for us. Bollocks. It's convenient, and it saves them money, and it's here to stay. So do you have a QR code on everything that you print? Your business card. You go to an event. In fact, I'm going to ask you this thing, hypothetically. You go to an event. Do you have business cards? Yeah, I have business cards. Do you give out business cards? Yeah, I give out business cards. Do you get business cards? Yeah, I get business cards. Do you hate getting business cards? Yeah, I hate getting business cards. Why? Because you get up to your hotel room at the end of a convention, you've got a stack of cards like this, and you're like, okay, who the bloody hell was Julie? Who's Peter? Who's what? You have no idea. So what happens is you look at them for 5 minutes and you file all of them in the round filing cabinet at the edge of your hotel desk. Just imagine if there was a QR code. And that QR code, you could literally just turn around and go to someone and go, hey, just hold this up and it'll do it for you. You haven't even got to ask them to scan it. Just hold your phone up and it'll do it for you. That's the benefit we've got now with being able to get the barcodes. I can literally go up to someone and go, hey, just hold your phone over that. All you'll do is hold your phone up, hover over it, and it will send you somewhere else. If you print anything, letters, brochures, business cards, you need to get with the times and get a QR code on it. If you're a realtor, you can change the house of the month. If you're a restaurant, you can change the dish of the day. If you're a garage mechanic, you can change deal of the month. You've got all the ability without having to change the QR code. Okay? As you've noticed, I don't even carry a business card anymore. That was a static picture on my iPhoto. And all I do is find it, open it, and go, hey, just hover over that. And they'll get that camera and they'll hover and bang, I've got them. Okay, and for any of you that did it, you've probably seen what's going on. In fact, here's a tip for you. The company I use is QR Generator. That's my favorite company that actually does that. So QR codes are very, very important. There's a lot of stuff we're going over here, and I know that you're probably going to have to go back and rewind it, but I'm here to unpack how I use all of technology to help me communicate, okay? And I'm giving you some of the tips and tricks that I've actually been discovering over a period of time. So those are what we're going on. And we're going to end it now with the credibility. Credibility is exposed when you show up as the solution to someone else's problem. To show up, you've got to ask the right kind of questions, and you've got to poise the questions that you need to poise. See, I remember a while back, I was going to do this new business venture, and I contacted a friend of mine, very, very wealthy guy. Funny enough, I only hung around with wealthy guys because they never needed to worry about money. Seemed to make sense to me. And I said to him, hey, I want you to invest in my new company. And he said, Sims, I love you, but never going to happen. Send me the business plan. And I thought, okay, so maybe there's just a little crack in the armor there. Maybe he's joking with me and he really wants to get involved. So I sent him via email the only business plan that I have ever done in my life. And it was about 60 pages, okay? Pretty pictures, all this kind of stuff. And it was about 2 weeks later, I got a brown envelope, and all of the pages that had text on them had been printed off, and it had been sent to me. It had a massive, great paper clip on the top. And on the corner of every single one of the pages of my business plan, he had written one of two things. Okay, or so what? So on the bottom of the page, there's like, okay. Roll it over. Okay. Next page. So what? Next page. So what? Next page. So what? Next page. Okay. And it went like that through once the pictures had all been taken out, like a 40-page business plan. And I thought to myself, does he like it? Does he not like it? That's a lot of feedback on something. He's paid attention to it. He's obviously read every single page. So I contacted him. And I said, hey, I got the feedback on the business plan. So did you like it? And he said, I did that for you. And I said, look, I am completely and utterly lost. What did you do for me? He said, you've got to understand that I need to ask myself, okay, or so what? No matter what you do, the recipient is looking at you going, okay, or so what? Okay means this helps me. So what means it doesn't. If you go on stage and go, hey, I'm a big deal. I know Elton John and Elon Musk and Sir Richard Branson. I got loads of money and I made $1 billion by the time I got off the toilet. That's a so what. But just imagine at the end of that statement, you turn around and for the next 30 minutes, I'm going to teach you everything I know so you can do the exact same. Then that statement becomes, okay, it's all for me. Okay, I'll take that. So you've got to ask yourself first off, when you're talking with your clients, are you talking at them or are you talking to the problem? Are you creating the ability for them to look at you and go, okay? Or are they looking at you going, well, so what? The amount of people that turn around and go, hey, I've been voted the top realtor in Vegas. So what? But if they twisted the end statement and say, and I'm proud of this position because I get to know my clients' needs, dreams, and desires. What do you need? Now it turns into an okay. So focus on every content that you're doing. An email, reread the email that you're about to send to your mate via your phone and see if you can say okay to the end of that email. Or has it got too much of your own ego in there and therefore it comes up as a so what? Ask yourself truthfully that question. When you post something on Facebook about your business, are you showing off needlessly? Or do you kick in the ability to turn that statement and that trophy and that status into a, okay. That was one of my biggest gains I noticed. When I look at someone and I talk about the stuff that I can do, I talk about how it can be done for you in your industry. And I coach clients ranging from plumbers, garages to a vegan line of lipstick. I've got a wide range of clients and every single one of them follows the exact same structure. How do we turn what you do into an okay and not a so what? So what? Too many people boast about their ability rather than boast about how their ability can make the other person brilliant. That's the thing you've got to be focusing on. Now, clients, once you've got a client, and this always makes me laugh, once you've got a client, you've got a testimonial. You've got a marketing soldier. You've got a marketing ninja there. And it's always amazed me that people get clients and they want more clients. And what's the first thing they do? They start advertising. They start advertising on Facebook. They start doing all of those kind of things. Why? What I would suggest you do is go to every single one of your clients and ask them this question. Go to your client and say to them, what did I do wrong? If you did a good job, they're going to say, nothing. You were always on the ball. You were great. You were wonderful. You always came back to me. You've solved my problem. That's when you can turn around and say, fantastic. How many people do you know that need to know that? Do not go to someone and say, hey, was I okay? Was I good? Did you like it? Because the knee-jerk reaction in us is always to not be horrible to the person. How many times has someone contacted you after you've gone out for a meal with them and you go, hey, did you like the meal last night? You know, did you enjoy those steaks? And you're a vegan and you go, oh, the best steaks I've ever had. You don't want to hurt the person, so you butter them up and you lie. But if you say to someone, hey, we went out for that steak last night, what was wrong? That's when the person can turn around and go, well, actually, I don't know what was wrong because I'm a vegan, you know? It operates a different part of your brain. But once you've got through to the person and you're now getting the feedback that you want, and if you get bad feedback, if they go, well, you never return my calls, you never answer this, you never do that, you can say, thank you. I needed that information in order to be better than I could possibly be. I wanted that information to be the absolute best of the best of the best. That's a good thing, okay? But if they don't say that and they just give you compliments and praise and tell you how brilliant you are, that's when you turn that person into your advocate and your frontline marketing by saying, who can you tell that information to? Because let's be honest, if you get a Facebook advert from me saying how brilliant I am, that's like me introducing myself in the bath in the beginning of this presentation. But if I've got someone that's spent money with me, that's a trusted point of credibility. And again, I told you right at the beginning, people do business with you because you're credible. we're actually moving very much into a credibility currency. We've seen all the furus, all the fake gurus popping up over the past years. Hey, look at me, I'm leaning up against a car I don't own. Look at me, I'm on a private jet, and here's a selfie so you can look down my top. All of that kind of stuff people don't really care about anymore. We're seeing through it. And we're going, well, okay, you look good, they look good, but how the bloody hell does that help me? That's what we're focusing on. People don't have the tolerance to put up with that crap anymore. They want to know what you do can help them. And if you also got to think about the client. The worst statement ever said in the planet, the client's always right. I don't know who said that, but I'd like to find them and shoot them. The bottom line of it is the client's not always right. You see, the client doesn't know what they don't know. That's your job. If you want to stay in business, become the authority, become the credible leader in that realm so that you can turn around and go, hey, I'm sure you've got that information, but this is what's happening. Because most people get that information from the internet. And what's the internet done for us? It's produced a lot of morons. People that suddenly think they're intelligent because they read an article online from another person that doesn't understand what the shit they're saying. You're the expert in that field. You've got to demonstrate, but you first of all got to relate to them. You've got to go, hey, I understand where you're getting in. In fact, funny enough, I think I saw that same article, okay? But I want to explain why that is actually out of context or it's actually misguided, because this is something I've had the industry for 30 years. Notice I'm being very general about what industry you're in, but you've got to focus on your credibility. You've got to actually focus on how you can demonstrate what it is you actually did and how you helped the other person. If you can demonstrate that you're there to help other people, then you become a solution to that problem. And people today want solutions. They don't want to be sold. If I ask you this question, have you enjoyed this presentation? You know, I guarantee you I'm going to get a few people going, yeah. Did you like what I covered? Yeah, I did. Did you like how I covered it? Yeah. Did you like what? If I keep saying that, you're going to start getting nervous. You're going to start going, hang on, where is this going? I'm being led down a funnel. He's going to hit me with a course for $12.99 for a 10-step program. I don't have those courses, so don't worry about it. I'm not. But if you address someone with a negative, what did I do wrong? What didn't you like about the service I got you? What aggravated you about the relationship that we had? If you ask someone about a negative, it clicks a different part of their brain and they have to think. And as they're telling you, they're actually then reaffirming what they knew about you. So when you turn around and say hey, wouldn't it be wise for you to be able to tell someone else? Wouldn't someone else like to know where that solution could be found? Would you mind making an introduction for me? When you get to that question, your clients become your front line. I am urging you, if you want to branch out your business, if you want to get more clients, don't jump to Facebook adverts. People today are educated to think that we have to outsource and pay to outsource the problem. We want more clients. What's easier, making a phone call to your client or spending $50 on Facebook adverts? People go, oh, Facebook adverts. No, because your advert's going to land in front of people that don't know who you are. But if Mary knocks on the door next time and goes, hey, have you spoken to Steve? I know you've got this problem and that boy's it. You don't have to do any selling. That's when it becomes almighty. That's when it becomes attractive. So establish your reputation, establish your credibility, and that will develop your brand. And as we started this conversation, as we finish off on the last minute I can see popping up here, as we started on this conversation, I said loud and clear, the branding is what people say about you when you're not in the room. If you can focus on being the answer to somebody's problem, there's your branding front line. There's your marketing front line. I've run companies with no advertising, no Facebook adverts, no phone numbers, no emails on my websites, purely referral based. If someone's going to spend money with me, guess who they know? People with money. Poor people hang around with poor people moaning about why they're poor. Successful people hang around with successful people talking about what opportunities they can gain. So make sure you're in the right room. You're dealing with the right kind of clients. You're asking the right kind of questions. You're delivering a solution, and get those people to then go back in that room to go, I had that guy Sims do this. And that's what you got to focus on. I have a free Facebook group called An Entrepreneur's Advantage with Steve Sims. There's no fee in it, so I'm not trying to kind of like lead you down a funnel. But I actually do a lot of stuff in there, live feeds, live AMAs, experts come in. And we do a lot of stuff in there to help us. I'm a great believer for anyone watching this, you want to be better. I know you want to be better. Otherwise, you wouldn't be putting up with this on a Friday afternoon. I know you want to be greater. So make sure you get in the right rooms that challenge you, that actually push you to be a better person. If someone's around you and they start laughing at what you do, great. It's because your dreams are so fantastical that it makes other people laugh. I tell people quite openly, go for stupid, go for the ridiculous. Do not go for what you can achieve. Go for what you never thought you could achieve, what you never reached for, because you'll be stunned. You won't always get it, but what you will get will be a good 100%, 50% more than what you were going to settle for in the original stage. All right, I'm ringing off now. This has been me, Steve Sims. You can find me at Entrepreneur's Advantage, steveDsims.com. I'm very easy to find. I'm easier to get than COVID.
Steve,
but hopefully that's helped you.
Steve, you're not leaving yet, man.
Oh, apparently I'm not leaving
You're not
yet.
leaving yet, man. Come on, hold on. We got two questions. I'm going to ask one, and then I got a comment to make, okay? This is from Juan, you have spoken about texting QR codes. Do you have a favorite technology to use in marketing and sales?
Yeah, all of them. I think you're an idiot when you use one and hope it's going to row the boat. You know, you really need to kind of like double up on everything. If you're going to send out I hate emails. But for me to ignore emails means I'm going to be missing out on a potential person that suddenly one day just opens up an email. So I email, I use constant contact. Then I go on social and go, hey, did you see the email? And then I send a text out saying, if you didn't get the email, here's the link. So I use all of them. There's no reason you shouldn't.
Awesome. Thanks. Okay. One more question. And then I got a comment. So this is from Janet. You've solved some crazy problems like getting someone to the Titanic. What's the process you follow to make such seemingly impossible ideas come to fruition?
So the first thing is there is a word that we don't use in my head and in my family, and that's the word impossible. The second you turn around and go, oh, that's impossible, but let's try it, you've already created recognition that it can't be done. Okay? One of the dumbest statements I've ever heard in my life is, hey, let's go for the impossible. You think of the impossible as a full stop, a brick wall that you can't get through. So why should we go for something that's a brick wall that can't be achieved? So I go for stupid. And you know this, Tab. We've spoken about this. Go for something ridiculous. Go for something that is just so beyond what you normally would go for. And just try. You'll be absolutely stunned when you go for it. But the first thing I do is I simplify it. I had a client of mine that wanted to get married in the Vatican by the Pope. So what's the point in me phoning up someone in Idaho? Phone up someone in Italy, and ask them, do you know anyone in the Vatican? First person I phoned said no. Second person I phoned said, yeah, I do. So the bottom line of it is start just taking the baby steps. I also urge you to stop thinking. Now, you've met me, Tab, so you know this for a fact. I've never overthought anything in my life. I've overaction. And I've failed a ton of times. But I get momentum going. If I want to do something with the Titanic, what's the point in me phoning up the recording academy? No, start phoning up the university. Start phoning up deep water. You can literally go and Google deep sea exploration and start asking them. Okay, that's what I've done. I've started with baby steps. Get into the sand pit that is closer than the one that I'm currently in.
Thank you. So here's a comment I'm going to make for everybody, because Steve's not going to make it. He mentioned the speakeasy. And if you ask him what a speakeasy is for him, or if you ask me, it's pretty much none of your damn business. None of your damn business. Show up and learn. I took a flyer on that. I was like, I don't know what I just spent my money on. But this guy, I'm showing up. And 2 words, Sharon Lecter. That's why she was here. Okay. So when this guy says he can do stuff and he can bring people around, it worked. It worked for me. And he's not paying me anything. Trust me, he's not paying me anything for it. I do expect like the next 10 speakeasies for free, but that's a whole other story. We'll have just separate. Anyway, Steve, thank you very much. Man, that's powerful as always. And appreciate the time, brother.
I appreciate it. Thanks for doing this on, and thanks for being willing to help other people. Tab, look after yourself.
Thanks, man.
Welcome to Refiners. Refiners is an organization of business owners and business professionals that are looking to improve their business and personal performance, just like you. As a Refiners member, you will have the opportunity to build connections with like-minded individuals from your industry. Join our amazing community for free at refiners.io.